All right, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is James Young, and I'm one of the new moderators here in the Strategic Day Trader Room. And for those that don't know me, I'm a new trader, just like you. I first started day trading back in June of 2019, so just last year. And in about 5 months, I was asked by Sammy to join his team. And what I want to discuss with you today, whether you're a new trader or a struggling trader, I want to share with you my journey and what I've learned, and hopefully it will help you in yours. All right. So, my background, just a little bit about myself. Before I got into day trading, I was in apparel manufacturing and wholesaling. So me and my wife started that business over 8 years ago. So what we do is wholesale women's apparel to retail shops or department stores. So when you need to go buy clothes, you might go to the mall, right? But when retail shops need clothes to sell, they come to us. So that's kind of our business. But now my wife took over everything because I'm full time day trading now. I still consult with the team, but my wife takes care of that business. And like I mentioned before, I've been day trading since June of last year. And I recently became a dad in September to a baby boy. His name's Tyson. So, yeah, thank you, Amber. Last year was just a crazy year for us. I mean, we had our first kid. I changed my profession. We bought our first house. So it's been crazy. But yeah, things are finally settling down now. So that's good. Some of my hobbies when I'm not trading, I do compete in powerlifting. I compete in the USAPL Federation. Haven't really competed since my wife's pregnancy, but I still train. I'm a huge fan of movies. Anything done by Christopher Nolan is my favorite, and I love to travel. One of my favorite spots is to go to Hawaii, and that's a place me and my wife try to go at least once a year. All right, so that's just a little bit of my background, and I'll sort of walk you guys through on how I got into day trading and give you guys some lessons I learned and what I did to improve my trading. All right. So to do that, I want to take you guys back to January 2017. And at this time, I was looking for a second source of income outside of our apparel business. And I always had interest in either real estate or stocks. But I just didn't know a thing about either of them. So I started with real estate courses which didn't really end up going anywhere. I did get my real estate license, so I am a licensed realtor actually. But my intentions were to use that to get into redeveloping homes. And one of the guys I met at the real estate seminar was telling me about options. So I ended up going to one of the seminars he had, and that led me to buying some options courses. So for about 2 years, on and off, um, I traded options, swing trading. I traded mostly spreads like iron condors, butterflies, broken wing butterflies, bear call spreads, you name it. So I did that here and there on my free time, on my own, but I never really found any success in it. Then fast forward to last year, April. All right, that's when I came across one of Sammy's webinar, and it was for his mentorship in Chicago. And even though, I bought a bunch of options courses that didn't really work out, What stood out on Sammy's mentorship program was that it was in person, like he was going to be there, and it was live trading. And, he was very open with his P&L, as you know, which I've never seen that before, right? Like someone who is just open with his account, just letting everything out there. So that kind of interested me. And I also like the fact that I have the opportunity to be around like minded traders. I didn't personally know any day traders. So to be able to connect with other traders, I thought would be cool. So I decided to give day trading a shot. And in June, that was the mentorship. So this was the first time I day traded. All right. And I actually still remember doing my first earnings play too. We shorted GME, which was nice. Um, but I mean, at this event, I mean, everything started to click for me. I mean, Sammy taught us everything he knows from his strategies, management, trading psychology, how to scan, his trading setup. I mean, everything. And I was so hooked and intrigued by all of it that so the classes were about 10 hours long, okay, every day. And that even after the 10-hour classes, I would go back into the hotel room with some food and watch and study the Pristine Method courses all night. And the next day I would just repeat. So it was like in the movie The Matrix. When Neo learns Kung Fu, they just plug him in and then he like instantly learns it. Like that's what this week felt like. Okay. I mean, it was information overload. And of course, it was probably has to do with that Sammy is not only a successful trader, but he's also one of the best teachers I've ever had. I mean, everything he taught just made sense to me and it stuck with me. So, I mean, he was really awesome. So that mentorship week was actually a real life changer, like literally, because after the mentorship, I decided this was what I wanted to do. Like I found true passion in day trading and wanted to pursue this as a career, not just as a second source of income. So I took it very serious. All right. So I showed up every day in the room, attended every coaching session, which I still do. I asked tons of questions. I was active in the room. I was posting ideas and learning why certain ideas are good or bad. Continued to study the material and started studying gaps before the open and after the close. Reviewed my trades, worked on management by tracking trades, which is one of the most important things you need to be doing. Okay. And I started scanning for pre-market gaps and intraday trades. And I'm doing all of this because I see Sammy and Ifan do it every day, right? So I'm trying to mimic what they do and develop their routine and their habits so that one day I'll be able to do it on my own, right? Not necessarily to actually leave and do it on my own, but I just want to develop the skill to be able to do so, right? And I know you might have different goals than I do, right? You might be here trying to do this just on the side, just using the room for ideas and plays. But for me, I wanted to do this as a career. All right. And then November, 5 months later, after the mentorship, I was asked by Sammy to join him and Ifan as a moderator. I mean, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I had doubts at first because I still felt like I had so much more to learn, which I do. And, I never done anything like this before, like public speaking, things like that. But I knew if I passed on this opportunity, I would regret it forever. All right. When your mentor gives you an amazing opportunity, you take it, right? And not only that, I also realized this would also help me accelerate my growth as a trader. But most importantly, I can help and influence other traders the way Sammy did for me. And as a moderator, you have to understand you have to bring your A game every day, right? I mean, I know you guys appreciate what Sammy and Ifan does, but it's really amazing the amount of work they put into this room. Okay. Um, I heard this saying the other day. It's not what you do, but it's who you do it with. And to have Sammy and Ifan, all the members in this room, I mean, this is my home for trading, right? And I wouldn't trade you guys for anyone, really. So here I am today. I found success in day trading. Becoming a moderator has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. I'm learning and growing every day. And I think it's important to always have the mindset of a student. And I do my best to help my team and the members achieve our goals. And of course, I feel so blessed to have this opportunity. And I can't thank my mentors, Sammy and Ifan, enough. So that's kind of my background. So here's what I've learned so far in all of this. All right. And here's what I wanted to share with you today. All right. So I've broken it down to 4 major keys for day trading. Now it goes much deeper within each of these, but here are the 4 major things you need to know how to do to find success in day trading. Okay, from what I've seen. Number 1, know how to scan. You have to know how to scan for gaps and intraday setups. Okay, so building a pre-market gaps list, as you see us doing every morning before the open, scanning for additional gaps you may have missed, and knowing how to scan for patterns within these gaps, right? So that's number 1. You got to know how to scan for gaps and plays. Number 2, pick the right plays. And I'm not talking about picking winning plays. I'm talking about picking the right play. And the right play means even if the trade ends up not working, you should be okay with it. Now you might be thinking, what? Right? No, it's because you and I only go after high quality trades, right? We have a methodology we follow. We don't settle for less. And the way we pick the trades matters. Okay. So let's talk about picking the wrong play. Picking the wrong play is choosing a play you lose in, or you could even profit from. And then you see something that says you shouldn't have done it in the first place, right? That's something, you see something wrong with it, then that's picking the wrong play. Does that make sense? So if all directions point that says there's nothing wrong with this play, you should be okay with losing, because no matter how perfect each trade is, you will not bat 100%. Okay? No one will bat 100%. That's what you have to realize. And the best we can do is go after high quality plays and let probability work in our favor. And picking a bunch of mediocre plays isn't going to help. All right? So number 3, now that you know how to scan for plays, you know how to pick the right plays, now you have to know how to manage the play. Now this one is the big one, and it's going to differ from each trader. So what you need to do is come up with your own management plan. But where do you start, right? For me, I started with Ifan's management plan as sort of a base. like a foundation for mine. Okay. So here's mine. Here's my management plan. So you start by writing out a management plan and then tracking your trades. Okay. Track all of your trades and also track a copy of that through a management plan you like. Right. So all the trades you actually took after the close, go back and also track according to your new management plan. After a large enough sample size and you see that the management plan has outperformed your actual trading, then you know you're going in the right direction. Does that make sense? And you continue to do this with different variations of management that fits your style. All right. And you're just constantly adjusting it to make it better. And this will show you how to maximize your profits and minimize your losses. All right. So by tracking, you'll see what outperforms what, and you go from there. And my last key is to be adaptable to the market. All right. The market environment is always changing, so adjust accordingly. Things are that are working really well now might not be next quarter, right? Maybe swing trading is better at the moment, or maybe day trading is better at the moment. Or maybe it's even capital preservation, where you need to sit out of the market for a bit, right? Then do that. Last quarter, we saw climactic plays. We're following through again. So we started to add more of those in our trading. So always respect the market and adjust your trading plan to it. Okay. So those are my 4 major keys. All right. And here's some of my early issues I faced when I first started trading. First one is trading emotionally and not professionally. So this is probably one of the most common one as a beginner, right? You get into a trade, you see it working in your favor, but once it starts to show a pullback, you get scared, it might turn into a losing trade, and you get out with a small profit. And then what happens? The stock continues higher and higher, and it goes without you, right? Does this sound familiar to anyone? Then when a trade goes against you, you actually start to have hope, right? That the stock will bounce back up or something. And when it doesn't, you end up taking a full loss on the trade. So I was taking small profits and bigger losses, which is just not the best strategy, right? So what's the solution? Have a management plan which allows you to trade on a system rather than emotion. So back to my point on management. So when I first came up with my plan, I found out I would have made over double my actual profits. So that convinced me to follow the plan, right? And that immediately took my emotion out of the game because now I know from the type of trades I pick, I know in the end, I'm profiting over 100% than just managing randomly. Now, of course, there's times when I feel I need to go against my management, which I'm guilty of, right? And guess what? Almost all of the time that happens, it was almost always better to just follow my management. You know, I heard this a while ago. I don't know if you're familiar with Star Trek, but how Spock would make an amazing trader because he bases everything on logic and not emotion. And Captain Kirk would be a horrible trader because he does everything on emotion, right? So I always thought that was funny and that always kind of stuck with me. So you have to manage on a system. All right. So that was some of my early issues. Next one, getting into mediocre plays because I didn't fully understand gaps yet, right? So, well, first of all, why do we like gaps? Why do we play gaps, right? Why do we emphasize and analyze gaps so much? It's because as day traders, we are in and out of stocks the same day, right? And what causes movement and volatility that we need in the stock that we want to play? Gaps, right? So gaps cause shock value. It gets attention on the stock. It creates volume and action, which is what we want as day traders. We don't want the stock to just sit there all day, right? So in the beginning, I would get into any play that had a pretty looking setup, but there's more to it than that, right? So I wasn't fully analyzing the gaps to help me understand exactly what's going on. So what was the solution here? Obvious one is to learn about gaps, which Sammy has tons of courses and videos on it. But here's one that really helped me. So every morning before the market opens, you see us put together a gaps list for the room to see, right? And what I started doing was going over each gap and analyzing them, just how Sammy does on the mic every morning, right? If you were here this morning, you see Sammy going over the market and over each gap individually, analyzing it to see what's his favorite, what's to play for the open, what's to play for later, what's to play on a pullback, right? So I started to do that, and over time, I started to get better at it, right? So whatever you analyze, match that with Sammy's, what Sammy has to say about it, and see if it matches up. And I promise you, it will help you understand and analyze gaps better. Okay? And then post market, you do the same. So what did the gaps actually end up doing, right? And look for reasons why it did this or that. Does that make sense? And know how to analyze multiple time frames. Don't only focus on one time frame you're looking at. So on my screen, I have the 1 minute, 2, 5, 15, hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly at all times. So any ticker I type in, I have all of those time frames available to me to analyze. Okay? So use multiple time frames. And then my next issue was not knowing about spreads and slippage. I would play spready stocks without realizing, get horrible fills, get shaken out. I mean, it's not fun getting filled 10, 15 cents over your entry, right? So what's the solution here? Know how to read level 2, pass on spready stocks. But what is considered too spready to play? Right? What's considered too spready to play? So for me, I mean, if you had to put a number on it, right? It would have to be, so let's say it's a 50-cent stop. So for me, the spread has to be probably under 5 cents just to consider it, right? Anything higher, I'm passing. I'm not really interested in those. And you have to also realize that the spreads can open up too, right? They can open up to be really big. So once you stop, once your order triggers, the spread can open up. So keep that in mind. And also use stop limit orders and not market orders to avoid slippage. Okay. So before I end the lesson, I put together a small list that might help brand new traders. All right. So first one here is get to know your platform by paper trading. All right. Press all the buttons, see what everything does, you're not going to break it. Okay? Know how to work the charts and know how to work the hotkeys, all of that stuff. Second is start with a small risk size. Now, most brokerages don't have any commissions now, so you should take advantage of it. And, I like the idea of trading with a small risk size rather than paper trading because we tend to trade differently with paper versus real money, right? So I like paper trading to get familiar with the platform, but for live trading, I would use a small risk unit to trade with. All right. And then the third is start with one pattern to trade. Now, this will make it easier for you to scan in the beginning. Okay. The charts are all new faces to you. So it'll be easier to look for that one face in the crowd. And over time, you will start to get quicker at spotting that setup, and then you build off of that. Okay. Fourth is to trade in a group setting, just like this one. So, more people going after the same plays, looking for the same pattern means more eyes on charts, which means more opportunities for all of us. Right? So for me, I think one of the reasons I couldn't find success with options is because I was doing it all on my own. Right? So trade in a group setting. And finally, I can't emphasize this enough, is to track your trades. Track your trades and develop a management plan. I promise you it will help you a lot. All right. So, hope you enjoyed the lesson. Um, if you have any questions, I will answer them now. All right. Oh, thanks, guys. How much do I bench? My best bench was 325. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right. Do I trade options or stocks? I only do stocks now for day trading. Which pattern do I focus on when I started? So for me, after the mentorship, I went after all. So there's 5 that I do, right? Or there's actually 3, technically. So you have your breakouts or breakdowns, and then you have your buy setup, sell setup, or you have the climactic plays. Oh, thanks, guys. My tracking criteria. So my tracking criteria. So, let's see. So you got your symbol, you got your share size, you got your fill, your exit, risk unit, the setup, your stop, and your risks, the actual risk you're taking. All right, what would you say is the main difference your option trading and stock trading? Um, so with options trading, there's more to it, right? You got to know your Greeks. You got your delta, theta, gamma, vega. So you got to learn those if you're going to do options. Day trading, it's a lot more ABC, right? It's just price movement. But options trading, the difference is you got to worry about time decay and premiums, all that stuff. What is the best way to learn to read level 2? I know Sammy has 2 videos on it. I think he posted it yesterday too, but I'm sure he can post it again. I'll get him to get you the links again. So those 2 videos will help you a lot for level 2s. Can I use FinViz Screener to scan for gaps? So for me personally, how I scan for gaps for pre-market, I actually on Thinkorswim, you look at the after-hour charts, and I manually scan my universe, my entire universe, every morning, and that's how I find them personally. And I know there's services out there that you can check out that like they have gap scanners actually, but I'm not familiar with those because I don't use those. Does Sammy have a video on trade management? I'm sure he does somewhere. I mean, he has thousands of videos, so I'm sure we can find you one. How many stocks in your universe? That varies every quarter, but usually it's like I think like 1,500 or something. I do options only, and I find it very effective coupled with Sammy's swing trading newsletter. Yeah, so options, I think, there's people that use it for swing trading. There's people that use it for his earnings plays. No problem. Right. Yeah. So that's the thing with options. You can have a set amount of risk when you use them. Indicator or criteria in TOS. Yeah. So I actually have my thumbnail charts open with after hour charts, and I'm just populating my universe on these charts and going through page by page to see what's gapping and what's not. All right. Let me see if I missed any. Hey J&J. No, I do not use pre-market data for trading the day trades. So whatever happens in the pre-market, I'm not really caring for that. On a day like today, with so many gap down stocks, how do you personally filter them out? So you go through each one and you analyze the gaps, right? So you go through. If you were here this morning, you saw Sammy going through each gap, seeing what's going on to his favorites, right? So that's how you filter them out. So there's ones that you play at the open, that you look to play at the open. There's ones that you look to play later. All right. Any particular reason for not using the pre-market? Because I feel like not a lot of people do. There's no, I like most of us just see the charts that's happening at the open, right? How consistent are your trade wins, or how many of your trades make money out of 5 trades? So let's see. let me. All right. So right now, so this month, from what I tracked, my Sharp ratio is 1.76 and my batting average is 47.14. So that's just this month, though. Yeah, last month was much better, I think. Um, all right. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Um, I'm going to get off the mic now, give you guys a 15-minute break, and then Sammy will come on. All right. Thank you all so much. And if you guys have any other questions, I'll be in the room. So feel free to type them onto the chat room. I'm here to help. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.